How do you think that AI can liberate rather than limit the legal profession?
If you think the most influential writers and professors and builders in the AI field, it's pretty clear that it's impossible to make forecast, especially 3 to 5 years from now. You can look at the curve, you can make assumptions, you can look at data in terms of legal tech funding and say, okay, according to Gardner, within 2050, we will have these billions of dollars allocated for legal tech. You can make all these kinds of evaluation. And but at the same time, it's pretty hard. So first of all, I would say that different lawyers means different kinds of AI. So an in-house legal department of a multinational company, you know, a law firm that generates billions of dollars every year, a small solo law firm in Brazil, an access to justice center in the middle of North Carolina, have all different ways of embracing the law. And all of them today are kind of using AI. So once again, how about reversing the narrative and starting from the user? So is there potential in terms of access to justice? Absolutely. Is there potential in terms of knowledge shared and so for people to learn the law and act accordingly? Of course, yes. At the same time, there are so many factors, both, geopolitical factors, or even, code of values for lawyers. What happened with Garfield law in the United Kingdom may not happen in Italy, or maybe one day it happened in France in 2019. The regulator wakes up and say, okay, no predictive analytics startups anymore for legal judgments. This can happen. And so I would say that starting with the user is a good starting point. Being flexible is probably the next reasonable step. Continuing to learn. So make our law firms learning companies more than service companies is the third step. It's probably the hardest one. It's connected with the second one. And the idea is the reflections about the value of what lawyers are providing is becoming key. And it will change from provider to provider and also from client to client. So I think that the wisest thing to do is breathing and reflecting. I know it's very hard because the idea of embracing AI for the sake of embracing AI is very tempting. But have you reflected about the data? Have you reflected about, your internal management? Have you reflected about the way you manage contracts? Because if you add noise to the noise, you just have more noise. How about, once again, reversing the narrative and think about what will not be substituted by AI so far? So we know that some things may be substituted, some things are, and some things may not be. How about starting from the ones that will not be substituted? How about reflecting on something that won't change 3, 5, 10 years from now? Clients need lawyers. Really? Are we sure that this is not going to change? Clients need to solve problems. And are you sure they need you? I mean, I'm not saying yes or no. I'm not saying this will happen or this will not happen. I think that it's time to reflect as legal professionals, as law firms, as institutions, as corporate legal departments about our added value. And believe me, speaking about it is way easier than reflecting about it. And where you have law firms with tons of equity partners and everybody thinks in a different way, is even harder. So a good starting strategy would be starting with the values of the firm, starting with the purpose, starting with the kind of relationship with the client or the clients you want to have. That's a good starting point. We can start with awareness. The more you are aware of the internal situation, the more you know where you should go. But it's a very difficult decision, and plus, external factors may impact these decisions way more. Who knows what will happen with Harvard and Agora? Maybe they will become law firms because they are internalizing the know-how. We really don't know about that. And we gotta take the risks of our, of our strategy. Uh, Take this leap of faith. We can take it, giant leap of faith or small leap of faith. But somehow, some way, this decision has to arrive because even not deciding is a decision on its own.